The name Wole Soyinka conjures images of a playwright, a political activist, a novelist, and a poet. Who is Wole Soyinka? Wole Soyinka's full name is Akinwande Oluwole Soyinka and was born on 13 July 1934 in Abeokuta, Nigeria. He received a Nobel Prize in Literature in 1986. That is one of the most notable achievements. He is known for his satire, but he also deals with the evils that are inherent in the exercise of power, which is evident in many of his works. Some of his outstanding plays include Madmen and Specialists, The Lion and the Jewel, Death and the King's Horseman, The Beatification of Area Boy. What makes Wole Soyinka's work outstanding? Wole Soyinka's work is a fusion of Western elements with themes that are primarily African in nature. His dramatic style is deeply rooted in Yoruba culture. His rich dramatic structure based on symbolism, flashback, humor, irony is an integral part of his work. He is also known for his poetic style and use of irony and for matching language to social position and moral qualities. Between 1960 and 1964, he was the co-editor of Black Obvious, a literary journal. From 1960 and onwards, he taught literature and drama and headed theatre groups at various Nigerian universities, e.g. Ibadan, Ife. Many of his lectures were published. Examples of his lectures include Wraith Lectures of 2004, The Climate of Fear 2004. Although he primarily writes plays, Soyinka is known to have written some outstanding novels, e.g. The Interpreters, Season of Anomy, Chronicles from the Land of the Happiest People on Earth. Furthermore, he has also written a collection of poems, e.g. Adanre and Other Poems in 1967, Poems from Prison 1969, Early Poems 1998, Mandela's Earth and Other Poems 1988. The majority of the poems from prison were written while he was jailed between 1967 and 1969. How did this come about? He was jailed for speaking against the Biafran War after Biafra attempted to secede from Nigeria. He focused on having to highlight the injustices that were associated with that war. In 1972, he wrote The Man Died. In this prose account, he chronicles his arrest and the 22-month imprisonment. One notable quality of Wole Soyinka is mixing myth and literature, the African world and the Western world. He has also written a number of critical essays which focus on the artist's role versus Yoruba culture and Yoruba symbolism. In 1996, he wrote The Open Sore of a Continent and the Burden of Memories, The Muse of Forgiveness. He focuses primarily on the ills that are associated with Africa and how the Western world is responsible. He was the first African black man to win the Nobel Prize for Literature. How is this significant? This prize is the most prestigious award given to an intellectual for achievement in the literary world. He also penned an autobiography, Ake, The Years of Childhood, in 1981. For long, he fought for the creation of a democratic space in Nigeria. Decades of political activism, including imprisonment and exile, have resulted in Wole Soyinka assuming an iconic status not only in Nigeria but the world over. He is said to have played a pivotal role in the creation of different political groupings, e.g. the National Democratic Organization, the National Liberation Council of Nigeria. In the year 2010, he founded and served as the chairperson of the Democratic Front for a People's Federation. This indicated his inclination towards finding a solution to the Nigerian crisis. One of Wole Soyinka's celebrated plays is The Lion and the Jewel. In The Lion and the Jewel, Wole Soyinka pits tradition against modernity. Tradition is represented by Baroka, who is fighting modernity, represented by Lakunle. These are the two ends that Wole Soyinka pointed out represented the crisis Nigeria was facing at that point. The majority of the themes that he has in his book focus on the conflict between tradition and modernity, the conflict between culture, the Western world versus the African world. He also looks at men versus women. He looks at pride, vanity, and power. He looks at trickery. This is the Wole Soyinka the Nigerian and the world had come to know. In the trials of Brother Jiro, he focuses on gullible Christian followers who are victims to the manipulations of people like Brother Jiro. It is a satirical comment, takes aim at religious hypocrisy, and mocks clever preachers like Brother Jiro. Essentially, Brother Jiro is a charlatan or a fraud who manipulates people and keeps his followers submissive to him. The famous artist and politician that Wole Soyinka has become is a result of a protracted struggle from the time he starts his education journey until his years as a lecturer and activist. He was educated at Government College and University College in Ibadan and graduated in 1958 with a degree in English from the University of Leeds. Thereafter, he participated selflessly in the education of others, lecturing at different universities and providing guidance to Nigerian intellectuals. He remains a literary genius fighting for space with the likes of Chinua Achebe and Ngugi wa Thiong'o on the African continent. He's a writer who is recognized throughout the world for his contribution to the literary world. He is also known for fighting for the rights of people. He is a complete human being who uses art as an instrument of change. Not only change in Nigeria, but change on the world stage. That is Wole Soyinka, the man who rose from Yoruba land in Nigeria to become an icon on the world stage, rubbing shoulders with intellectuals in the United Kingdom and other parts of the world. This is the man we celebrate in today's Luminous Recaps. This is the man whose story is familiar in Africa and the world over. This is the man who used the pen to fight the sword. The man who thought it's more than just the pen. It also means involvement. It's not just involvement. It also means participation. That is Wole Soyinka, the one African writer who believes that politics and art are intricately intertwined.
I know that you were very outraged when Kensara Wiwa was killed. And this was another instance where the state, the Nigerian nation state, believes that to kill an idea, you kill a few people. Instead of which it radicalized the Niger Delta. And I know that ultimately you became part of the conversation about how to restore a sense of a little bit of calm in that region. What does it take, in your view, for a country to address what you might call the open sore that generates Biafra, generates Boko Haram, generates the Niger Delta militancy, and so on? What would it take for our country to see a modicum of peace?
It's a combination of many factors. First of all, there is the answer of brute force.
Yes.
The rampaging herdsmen have got to be neutralized. They do not understand dialogue. Boko Haram has got to be neutralized, militarily I'm saying, because it does not recognize dialogue. So for me, those are festering but peripheral issues which do not subject themselves to the rational process, to dialogue, to even the offering of alternative options and so on. These are totally dedicated obstacles to even harmonious coexistence. And they have committed crimes against humanity of a horrendous dimension that cannot simply be taken care of through amnesty program like in the Delta region, which blew up pipes, occasionally kidnapped some individuals. We need a genuine, authentic, inclusive conference, national conference. Stabs have been made, as you know, even in Pronaco, we tried to do that, but each one has been tinkering with the situation. Truth and Reconciliation and
South Africa.
This part of the process, but it shouldn't stop at the meeting, the conference table, the production, even of a tone. You've got to take that further, systematically relate policy statement, execution of projects, relate all those to the outcome.